This regular meeting of the Detroit Lake City Council is called to order, and at this time, I'd like to invite all of you to please stand and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the regular agenda as presented. Are there any items that need to be either removed or added to the regular agenda? Yes, there are. Public Works, you've got a couple items
I have a
added.
couple items.
Use your mic, please.
I have two items for a DMRA, item 6K and item 6L.
Any other items?
None, Your Honor.
I would entertain a motion to approve the regular agenda with the addition of those two items.
So move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the regular agenda. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. The consent agenda is before the council, and all items with an asterisk are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered separately in its normal sequence on the agenda. Is there anyone in the audience or any member of the council that wishes to either add or remove an item on the consent agenda? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion for its approval.
So move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda as printed. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. The minutes of the regular city council meeting held May 12th, 2026, and a work session held on May 19th, 2026 are before the council. Is there anyone in the audience or any member of the council that wishes to make any changes to the minutes of those two meetings? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion for their approval.
I make a motion to approve both meetings, May 12th and also May 19th.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes of the regular council meeting held May 12th and the work session held May 19th. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I'm gonna skip around a little bit to try to accommodate people so they can get out of here earlier and enjoy the nice weather. So the first item I'd like to take would be under the Community Development Committee. Actually, there's two items, Wendy. It's item 5B and 5C, please.
All right, thank you. Item 5B is consideration to a resolution approving an amended variance which allowed 343 parking spaces instead of the required 408 spaces, and a waiver of the payment in lieu of spaces to remove two conditions related to a .48 acre lot at 1317 US Highway 10 West at 1305 US Highway 10 West. I'm gonna let Larry kind of share the information. We had quite a long discussion about it, and it comes down to really one question, so we'll.
Okay, this is a request for an amended variance to allow this parking situation. And basically what happened is there was a .48 acre lot that was available on this site. Originally, the variance would require 51 parking spaces on that site. That got amended because American National Bank was going to do an addition and provide 34 parking spaces on that site. Then American National decided that they weren't going to do that addition and they wanted to sell the site to Scooters for a coffee shop. And so then they would have to amend the parking on this lot to just be what was needed for any business that would be located there. So that's what we're doing tonight. Scooters is no longer interested in the property, but the bank would like to have this variance amended so that they can sell it to some other buyer.
Okay,
Thank you. Our committee considered this and unanimously recommend that the council approve the resolution.
okay, is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt a resolution approving an amended variance as outlined by Wendy and by Larry. Discussion on the motion?
I have one thing, Your
Go
Honor.
ahead, Sean.
I just like to note that, I mean, I in no way, shape, or form do I want to force someone to make parking that's not needed and in its space right now, but also this decision to remove it. I support the decision to remove it, but knowing that there is an existing easement and this fundamentally changes the nature of that business relationship, then we have that impact. So just want to make sure that we're all aware of the impact that we're having on those business owners. But we're still allowing, we're not forcing parking and other things that don't need to happen.
Okay,
Thank you
further
for that.
discussion?
Thank you for that, Sean. I had wanted to just remind the committee and the council that as the variants stand, the business would be required to put in a certain number of unnecessary parking spots by September. And so I think that's kind of reflects Councilman Sean, can't remember your last name all of a sudden. Carlson. That's all I have.
Okay, any further discussion?
Who's in my-
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. And then if you would go to 5C, please, Wendy.
5C is consideration to a resolution approving a variance to allow construction of retaining walls in the shore impact zone and to allow the removal of 3 healthy trees from the shore impact zone at 1019 Lakewood Drive. Our committee reviewed this and recommend approval, and I will let Larry kind of spell it out for the rest of the council members.
Essentially, this variance is a request to replace or remove the old retaining walls that are in this location and build a new retaining wall system. In order to do that, he has to remove 3 healthy trees, but there was one condition that he replace those trees once the new retaining wall system is in.
Thank you.
Okay,
Again, our committee recommends approval, and I would so move.
Second.
motion's been made and seconded to adopt a resolution approving a variance at 1019 Lakewood Drive. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries. Without objection, I would like to move to the Finance Committee, Agenda Item 7A. I'll call on Alderman Stearns.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Finance Committee met this afternoon and item 7A was the first item. That is the Bergen KDV performs an annual audit for the city, and Janelle Bitson from the firm is here to present the findings.
Hi, Janelle.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. First, want to thank you for the opportunity to be here with you tonight, and also wanted to extend our appreciation to your staff for the work that they do preparing for the audit. They do put in a lot of time and efforts, and we do appreciate how prepared they are for us when we do the audit. So I do have the results of your audit. There's 3 reports that we issue as part of the audit process. So I'll summarize those 3 reports for you. The first one being the independent auditor's report. This report does talk about the financial statements being management's responsibility, so your staff are putting together the information that goes within that document. And then our responsibility is to express an opinion based on the results of our test work. We did issue an unmodified opinion. This is what's considered a clean opinion. It states that your financial statements present fairly in all material respects. The second report we issue is our report in accordance with government auditing standards. These standards require us to look at internal controls over financial reporting, as well as compliance with various laws, regulations, contracts, and grants. And when it comes to internal controls, we had 1 item to report, and that's the lack of segregation of accounting duties. Due to the limited staff that you have within the finance area, there are some duties that are overlapping. You've seen this finding in the past, and it's very common for cities of your size to have this finding. And then when it comes to compliance, we had no non-compliance to report to you. And then the last report we issue is our report on Minnesota legal compliance. The state auditor's office gives us a list of state statutes to test compliance with each year. And we had one compliance finding to report this year, and that relates to prompt payment to vendors. The statute requires that all bills be paid within 35 days of receiving the invoice, and there was one item that was paid outside that time frame. And then moving on, we've got a few charts and graphs that kind of just summarize the financial results and show a 5-year trends. The first graph here is your general fund sources of revenues for the last 5 years. For 2025, you saw an increase of about 11.3% or $854,000. And that was spread across a few different areas. You did have an increase in the tax levy itself. You saw some additional grants in the intergovernmental revenue category, increase in building permit revenue with some large permits that were pulled during the year, and then an increase in the miscellaneous revenues with additional investment income for the year. And then the next chart, the pie chart shows those components of revenues as a percentage of the whole. So the taxes and assessments is the largest component of revenues for the general fund. And we've kind of got the 2025 and the 2024 comparison in there, fairly consistent from year to year. We've also got a 5-year chart in here on the expenditure side. For 2025, you did have an increase of about 11.7% or $925,000. A lot of that increase related to wages, salaries, and benefits across the different programs. You also saw some increases in snow removal and repairs and maintenance. And then we've also similar pie charts showing the different programs where your expenditures are. Public safety continues to be the largest program for the city, and that includes your police, fire, and building inspections. And then public works is the second largest program for the general fund. We've got a chart in here that shows budget to actual results. So the first column of numbers was the budget that you as the council approved, directive to management of where you anticipated general fund balance should come out. So you had budgeted for a decrease in fund balance of $139,000. The actual was an increase of $473,000, so about $612,000 better than what you had anticipated. The biggest variance in that comes on the revenue side. And the city historically budgets conservatively for building permits. At time of budgeting, you don't always know who's gonna pull a permit for the year, so those numbers are hard to predict. You also budget conservatively for investment income, because that number can vary from year to year based on market rates. So those two items make up the largest variances in this budget difference that we've got presented for you. This graph here just summarizes overall general fund revenues, expenditures, and fund balance for the last 5 years. You can see that the activity has been increasing a little bit each year. So 2025 is the highest level of activity that you have in the years presented. As I mentioned, you did have an increase in fund balance of about $473,000. So you ended the year with fund balance of $7.4 million. About $4.3 million of that is in the unassigned category. The city has a policy that 35 to 50% of the next year's expenditures be in that unassigned category, and you're right at about 44%, so kind of right in the middle of where that city policy requires you to be. And then we've got a graph in here also for each of your enterprise funds. The first one here is the electric fund. All of these graphs that I'm going to show you kind of show a similar trend. You did have some increase in activity for 2025. Each of these funds had a positive or operating income. So they are self-sustaining funds, which is what you want to see. And it's allowing you to build your unrestricted net position number. And the importance of that is that it shows that you're kind of building these dollars to set aside for future repair and replacements that are needed in any of these funds. And some of the funds, like the liquor fund, I know that you sometimes use that to fund other city projects. So the first one here is the electric fund, as I mentioned, increase in activity here and an increase in your overall unrestricted net position. The water fund is similar. You did see increases in both revenues and expenses here as well, but in operating income still. And then the wastewater fund. So like I said, they're all kind of the similar trend where you have those positive operations in each of those funds. And then the liquor fund. The blue-gray bar is the unrestricted net position amount, and you can see from 2022 to 23 specifically, there's kind of a larger gap, and that's where some of those large transfers came out. There's smaller transfers from year to year, but that was a year where you did transfer out a much larger portion for some of the projects going on within the city. So that's overall kind of a summary of what I had prepared for you guys. Certainly open to any questions if any of you have from the documents that you were sent.
Any questions for Janelle from the council? Thank you, Janelle. Mike?
Yes, thanks, Janelle. So item 7A1, Finance Committee heard the presentation earlier this afternoon, found it to be acceptable, and we recommend approval of the 2025 audit report, and I so move for approval.
Second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the 2025 audit report. Discussion on the council? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you again, Janelle.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Without objection, I'm gonna go back and do the public hearing. So at this time, I'm gonna adjourn the regular meeting, call to order a public hearing to receive public comments on the public nuisance at 912 Rossman Avenue. And I'll call on Priscilla at this time. Priscilla, what's your official title?
I'm the code compliance official.
That's what I thought. I didn't want to butcher it, though.
I've been called a lot of things. Well, good evening, Mayor, Council. Thank you for your time tonight. 912 Rossman is located in a R2 district, just down the road from Rossman Cemetery. There have been ongoing discussions with property owner Catherine Peterson regarding the items in the front yard. We are here today to discuss the photos taken of the property and to determine this property is a nuisance. I will go over the city code and the zoning ordinance sections cited in her violation at this address. The purpose of this section is to establish a general performance standards. These standards are intended and designed to assure the compatibility of uses, to prevent urban blight, deterioration, and decay, and to enhance the health, safety, and general welfare of residents of the community. The screening section of the zoning ordinance regulates the general requirements for residential lots in town. The refuse portion states that the piling of junk in residential yards is a non-conforming use and shall be removed. The exterior storage states items need to be stored inside or fully screened from adjoining properties. Junked, inoperable vehicles are not allowed. Household items are not allowed to be stored outside, as covered in City Code Section 901.04. Overall, the photos will show that the property has not been maintained in a clean, safe, or sanitary condition as required by City Code Section 1002A.04. In May 2025, I took the following photos of the front yard at 912 Rossman. There are piles of cans along the white van and bins and other storage items along the black Chevy Tahoe. From this angle, you can see the stacks of packages piled in front of the main door. There's also a line of bins along the inside of the lilac hedge opposite the road. In the summer, this hedge hides the bins from view. This angle shows the front alongside the black Chevy Tahoe. You can see piles as well as near the shed, which is kind of hard to see in that photo. A violation was sent July 16th with a deadline of July 31st, and a public hearing would be set for August 12th. Ms. Peterson requested additional time, an extension was given, and then missed. Today, we will look at the photos taken of the property within the last 5 days. These are two of the letters that the city received from Ms. Peterson requesting additional time. The following photos were taken last week on Thursday, June 4th. They show stacks of bins near the black Chevy Tahoe. The recycling has been taken over by leaves and spring vegetation. There are concrete blocks behind the white van. Bins can be seen in front of the black Chevy, in front of the white van, and around the gray storage shed. More bins can be seen in front of the house, near the driveway. Unopened packages can be seen on the front stairs, along with a black garbage bag filled with something. A bed frame is propped up alongside the entry stairs. This is another photo of the stairs, and you can see that the line along the hedge underneath the date has been removed, so there has been progress. A closer look at the front corner of the gray shed items. The side entrance of the south-facing side of the house has furniture not rated for the outdoors. Some of the wood is now rotten, and with Ms. Peterson's permission, I have ventured into the backyard. This photo is looking back toward the front of the property, toward the road. As you turn the corner into the backyard, the west-facing side of the house is a walkout basement. It was full of bins and other items. This is a photo showing the backyard into the wooded area. It holds more bins. This photo shows the shed next to the bins, and there's a tarped item next to it. This is a wide angle of the backyard. And this is looking back toward the house from the wooded area. More bins and other household items can be seen. Dressers, interior doors. On this day, I met with Ms. Peterson, who stated she was feeling better and was going to have help to remove the items from the front yard and bring them to her storage rental. She said she would have the front cleaned over the weekend and asked that I come back on Monday to take progress photos. This is Monday. The bins are closer to the Tahoe, but not much progress has been made with the rest of the items in the yard. As you can see, a new bin is next to the Tahoe. Not much is touched in the front. The photo show the property is currently in violation of the screening, refuse, and exterior storage regulations. Due to the homeowner not meeting the deadline, staff recommendation is for the council to approve the resolution before you today and abate the nuisance.
Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to the issue of the public nuisance at 912 Rossman Avenue? Hearing none, that public hearing is closed. I'm not sure which council member had this on there.
I do.
Wendy, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Item 4A1, consideration approving a resolution declaring nuisance, ordering abatement, and assessing costs as a service fee at 912 Rossman Avenue. The committee did review this and recommend approval, and I so move.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a resolution declaring a nuisance and ordering abatement and assessing costs as a service fee at 912 Rossman Avenue. Discussion?
I just would like a couple clarifications.
Sure.
Ordering abatement. So abatement means removal of all of the items outside,
Yes.
whether they're her personal items she hopes to keep. They'll just, what
Correct.
happens in that process?
So we'll hire a contractor that comes in and removes the items that are not allowed per the ordinance and city code, and that will be put in storage for at least 1 year. At that time, we'll move forward with how that works. They have to pay the fee in order to get their items back, or we can put it up for sale to defer some of the costs of the abatement.
you can also assess the costs of the abatement to the taxes on the property. That's what language is, that it says assessing the cost as a service fee assessment. Okay.
Thank you for that.
Okay, any further questions or comments from the council?
But I'd just like to comment that I feel the city has been very lenient and been very patient in allowing this family to clean up this problem, and it just continued getting worse and not better. So I think we've been very kind on this family, but it's time to get it cleaned up.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. At this time, I'll call to order a public hearing to receive public comments on a public nuisance at 1118 Wilson Avenue. Again, I will call on Priscilla.
Hello. 1118 Wilson is located in an R2 district just south of City Hall. This property is listed in Becker County as being owned by Lyle Jonas and Jason Jonas as the occupant. I've been working with Jason for the last 9 years on recurring incidents regarding the number of items in the front yard, the driveway, and the backyard. This property is before you today as a public hearing because the deadlines have not been met. I was called to inspect a complaint at 1118 Wilson. I have listed the sections of the zoning ordinance and the city code pertinent to the inspections. The screening section of the zoning ordinance regulates the general requirements for residential lots in town. The refuse states the piling of junk in residential yards is a non-conforming use and shall be removed. The exterior storage section states items need to be stored inside or fully screened from adjoining properties. City Code 901.04 regulates public nuisances affecting safety. Subdivision 13 applies to the unguarded machinery concept. It applies it to the inoperable, junked, or abandoned machinery stored outdoors. In this context, unguarded means the machinery lacks any secure enclosure, locked building, or proper screening like a fence to keep it hidden from the street and protected from unauthorized tampering. So it's an attractive nuisance. You want to keep kids out of stuff like that. And subdivision 18 prohibits household items, appliances to be stored outside unless it's a licensed junkyard, which we do not have any in town. Section 1002A.04 of the city code requires the property not covered in buildings be kept in a clean, safe, and sanitary condition. The photos gathered for you today were taken on May 28th, 2025. On this day, you can see a plethora of items that should be stored inside, fully screened or removed from the property. Multiple buckets piled together, shovels, jacks, mechanic tools, etc. A pair of broken bicycles and parts, broken go-kart, metal barrel, miscellaneous car parts, bucket of garbage perhaps collected around the driveway and yard, maybe a bottle of brake fluid, spray paint, propane tank, battery charger, multiple automotive batteries, white household appliance, unsure of what that is, gas can, cooler, tires, ductwork, ammo boxes, anvil, ready heater, clay targets, foldable ramps, tools, landscape edger, rope, tow strap, receiver hitch, more buckets, more tires, random items, engine oil containers, etc. There's a dolly, there's shelving, there's a turtle sandbox filled with water. I believe that's for his pets. Spilled tools in a broken box. Landscape edgers, air fryer, an acetylene tank, garbage bag, a bath towels it looks like maybe. Wood with nails, rusty paint tray, pressure washer, batteries, car parts, welder, light bar, tool set, appliance stores, shingles, miscellaneous construction materials, headlight assembly, a winch, rake, shovels, stereo or sound system. These items in the driveway are a violation of the city code and zoning ordinance. A notice of violation and a public hearing notice were sent and the original deadline was missed. Mr. Jonas asked for more time. I allowed him into the fall of 2025. He then explained he had some extenuating circumstances, so I gave him the winter months. There is some history with this property. He has had deadlines and extensions and has met them. This is from April. He received a deadline of May. He had some progress with the extension. He did clean it up. So I didn't think an extension was out of line. June 4th, 2026, I stopped by to take some progress photos. Mr. Jonas was present when I was taking updated photos. He said he would have the front yard cleaned up by Monday, June 8th. So you can see that these do match some of the items that were still there, that were there last year. So the gas tank, but it is tidier. Things are on a flatbed trailer. He told me the tires in the bed of the gray pickup were used for his mobile mechanic business. An eye-level glimpse into the backyard from the driveway near the front door. You can see stacks of landscape blocks, automotive parts like the white vehicle door. This is a photo looking back to the street from the front door. I went back yesterday and have included the updated photos. The pile of wood is neatly stacked out of the right-of-way. Items are out of the right-of-way and out of the yard, tidier in the driveway. Tires in the bed of the gray truck, battery charger out of the trailer piled with, or the trailer is piled with random items. Again, an eye-level glimpse into the backyard. A closer look shows a camper and a shed and some other items that can be seen behind the fence. A trailer axle, other hitch items, pulleys, winches, cables, shelving, a gas tank, more tires, and small automotive items. Pile of garbage near the front door, lumber, miscellaneous items on the trailer, and a tank. Another shot. Again, an eye-level glimpse into the back driveway to the garage shows additional unnamed items. Per the screening requirement of the zoning ordinance, the city code listed above, the property does not meet compliance. Due to the homeowners not meeting the deadline, staff recommendation is for council to approve the resolution before you today and abate the nuisance.
Okay, thank you, Priscilla. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to the issue of the abatement of a nuisance at 1118 Wilson Avenue? And if you would just state your name and address for our minutes, please.
My name is Jason Shaughness, 1118 Wilson Avenue.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time tonight. I've been working on getting the property cleaned up. I'm more than willing to get the job done, but it's taking time. It's taking financial resources that I don't have, and abatement would further that even more. I've been continuing daily when I can to make progress, but I live alone. I don't have a significant other to assist with any of this. I have to work to pay my bills and then clean up when I have time. The front yard is almost completely done. The backyard I've yet to get to, but like I say, that's a financial resource issue as far as getting rid of stuff. All I can say is I asked council to delay the abatement a little bit longer so I can try and get things taken care of. I want to. It's a lot of work and a lot of money.
Okay, I'm sure the council is wondering how much time you're requesting.
60 days should allow me plenty to get the front and back done.
Okay, anything further you want to say?
Nope.
Okay. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak to the issue of the nuisance at 1118 Wilson Avenue? Hearing none, that public hearing is closed. I'll call on Wendy again.
Item 4B, consideration approving a resolution declaring nuisance, ordering abatement, and assessing costs as a service fee at 1118 Wilson Avenue. Our committee did review this and came to the meeting today recommending that the council approve that resolution. And I so move.
I'll second it.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded to declare a nuisance, order abatement, and assess costs as a service fee at 1118 Wilson Avenue. Now, any discussion by the council?
Well, again, I'd like to say, we have been very patient for over a year. All we've seen is this property go from bad to worse. And, we just can't continue having this. I feel bad for the neighbors because it hurts their property values and they have to look at it. And, it's time that we get this stuff cleaned up as soon as possible.
Further comments or discussion by the council?
After reviewing everything Priscilla had to share with us today, there have been occasions when he's been giving extensions and he has made progress. This is really hard. I can't imagine how hard it is to get all of that removed. If we were to give an extension with our resolution, we're done then. If it's not done by then they can move toward abatement, correct? Am I understanding that correctly?
Charlie?
The resolution can be amended slightly and just say that you are ordering that you are declaring it a nuisance and you're ordering abatement, but you can say abatement by such and such a date if it's not cleaned up by then. Then we don't have to go through the hearing process again. The nuisance has been declared, it's been ordered, abated, but you could extend the deadline to abate to some reasonable date.
And does that take a different motion or do we need to deal with the
Well,
motion we have right now?
Mayor.
Before we do that, Kelsey has something he wants to add.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, so the resolution that you're considering, there was a new handout that you should all have on the dais. We have the abatement, it basically gives them 2 weeks. So we have abatement occurring on or after June 24th is the date that we've had in both these resolutions. So if you want to amend that date, you can amend that date.
Okay,
You still would want the resolution though to declare the nuisance, order the abatement, and assess the costs if the city's required to do that.
okay, so if we want to change it, we need to make an amended motion at this time, correct?
There could be a motion to amend.
I move to amend the motion to extend the abatement to on or before July 31st. That would give him not quite the 60 days he requested.
I'll second.
Okay, the motion's been amended to July 31st would be the date of abatement then, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Mayor.
go ahead, Brian.
I can't believe we're gonna give this man another extension. It's been like this since last year, May. And what does it look like? It looks worse than it did back then. All we're doing is, we've got a similar thing happening out on Long Lake. We give these people extra time and all it does, it gets worse and worse. How would you like to be a neighbor next door to this people and have to look at this? And now we as a council are gonna tell the neighborhood, you get to look at it all summer. I'm against this. Like Kelsey, maybe give them till the 24th of June, but we've already given this family enough time to get this cleaned up. It's a pig pen. It needs to be cleaned up now, not later.
Further discussion?
I mean, I think the fact that he showed up here and asked, I think the photos show that he has made some progress, albeit not as fast as we like. I think it warrants a response from us to say, let's set a deadline and say, we're not gonna go past this deadline, but you've shown some progress and you've asked for the time, and I think that's reasonable.
We have a deadline of the 24th because every time we give a deadline, it gets worse and worse and worse. When are we gonna learn by this? We've seen this happen over and over again.
We'll learn on July 31st.
It's already been too long. We're gonna
Okay.
give them 2 years?
Why don't you guys address me as the chair
Okay.
instead of yourselves?
Well,
It might be a little more orderly.
I think also, I agree that we've given enough time. However, one thing we don't consider always is not everybody has the financial resources immediately available. So I think in this situation, maybe not in every situation, but in this situation, I think I would be in agreement to extending it to July 31st.
Okay, further discussion? Charlie, a protocol question, if we vote in favor of this, do we still need to vote on the original motion or?
Yes, you vote on the amendment first,
Okay,
and then you would vote on the motion as amended.
I got it. Okay, I'm gonna call the question. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
The motion carries. So now I'm gonna call the question of the original motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
The
That mo-
original motion,
the-
We vote affirmative for the original one? I thought we
Yes.
voted that down.
No,
We voted to amend it.
Yep,
That passed.
yep,
So the second vote would be the vote on the motion as.
amended.
as amended. Oh, okay.
as amended.
Is a resolution that declares it a nuisance, orders abatement, but has abatement to be the
July
31st of
Okay.
July.
Okay.
And if the city is required to do the abatement, assesses the cost.
Right, okay, got it.
I'm gonna
That's-
recall the question
Thank you.
because I think there was some confusion, so I'm gonna recall the question. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. And the,
Public hearing is closed.
the resolution declaring a nuisance, ordering abatement and assessing costs as a service fee at 1118 Wilson Avenue is adopted. Without objection, I'd like to move a couple other items because we've got folks here this evening. Mike, can we go to 7B and 7C, please?
Sure. Item 7B, consideration to approving the DMRA Legacy Grant request. We have Tom Teal here. We will have him approach and I'll have Kelsey kind of give a little update on the request. Or
You want me to go first?
we'll have Tom go first.
Tom, you want to go ahead?
Thank you for allowing me to be here and to consider this funding of our new campground project that we are looking for legacy grant funding. And I guess how much information should I share in this moment?
Well, maybe I'll give a summary. So the Detroit Mountain has a grant request that they're working to complete, and the part of it requires a city match and or public match or outside match for that to happen. And the request is that the city be approached for $170,000 portion of that, and there's about a $2.9 million project. And so the request is that between some food and beverage tax source in 2028 and possibly the public utilities or the development authority, that they cover the balance of that $170,000 piece for the city's portion. So whoever wants to take it from there.
Kelsey, why don't you pick up where Mike
Sure.
left off?
Mayor and council, that was a very good summary. So in the past, when we've done legacy grant applications at Detroit Mountain, we have used food and beverage tax to help offset the local match. This project's a little more challenging with the campground as far as what is qualified for food and beverage tax expenses. There were 3 line items that were in the budget that we kind of identified that total $73,530 that would be food and beverage tax eligible. So the staff recommendation is for the council to make that commitment of $73,530 from the food and beverage tax fund to put towards as our local match. That doesn't get them all the way there for what they need for the local match. And as Alderman Stern said, I think there's a few other options, looking at public utilities on what they can do for maybe in kind on the electric installation. We also are looking at development authority as potentially giving some sort of low interest loan for the gap. But for tonight, the consideration is to approving that food and beverage tax commitment.
Okay, Tom, do you want to add anything further before we do a motion?
No, other than I think this is just a great project that's going to fill a need that is in this community of just not having any really kind of nightly camping. And I think they really help with the outdoor recreation community that we have here in Detroit Lakes.
Very good. Mike, do you
And
wanna
one
make a
additional
motion?
thing, that the food and beverage tax requirement would be estimated to be in 2028 when the funds would be needed. So this is not a 26 or 27 thing, it's in 2028.
Okay, I would entertain a motion.
All right, so we have that matching amount of $73,530. Finance Committee discussed it, recommend approval, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the expenditure from the food and beverage tax for the Detroit Mountain Recreation Area Legacy Grant request. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Mike?
So can we move on? Yeah, we'll move on to item 7C. That's a consideration to approving the 26-27 DMRA rates. That's a requirement that those be presented to council. Tom was at Finance Committee this afternoon. Generally, they're talking about a $4 per ticket increase for the lift tickets, and then about $7 for equipment rental. Tom pointed out that there hadn't been a rental increase in the last 6 years, so it's kind of a catch-up time. But he did also point out that doing an analysis of other ski hills in the region, that we are definitely, the DMRA is definitely in the low to mid range. Yeah, so we are not the most expensive place, but still a fairly accommodating rate for people to come and use the facility. So unless you have any additional things, I'll just motion on that.
Yeah,
or-
I have no comment on that.
All right, so we have the rates that were presented at Finance Committee, and recommend approval as presented.
Seconded.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the 2026-2027 DMRA rates. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Sorry to
Thank
make you walk up
Thank
for
you,
no
Tom.
reason.
All right, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
As long as you've got the floor, Mike, can we jump to item 10B?
You are doing a nice job of keeping me on my heels, yes. So item 10B, that is consideration to approving a lease agreement with HIA Health of the Old Police Department. This was originally being discussed at the Finance Committee level on the city side. There have been discussions with HIA. They would like to come and occupy the office space plus a couple of the parking spaces in the enclosed garage area. So after some discussions and knowing that Public Utilities occupies part of the space in that building as well, it was decided that, and graciously accepted by General Manager Roberts, that the Public Utilities would take on this task. And so a lease agreement was drafted, and Public Utilities met on it this morning. Recommend approval, and I so move.
Seconded.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a lease agreement with HIA Health for the old occupancy for the old police department building. Discussion on the motion?
Yeah, a couple, I guess one additional or two additional things. So there are some additional, there are repair expenses that are involved in this. And so those are going to be costs borne by Public Utilities, and in exchange, Public Utilities will receive those rent payments, so.
Okay.
And
Further
it's a 3-year
discussion?
lease. Sorry. Now I'm done.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
So I think I'm going to do our public forum at this time, and I only have one person who's signed up to speak, and that's Amy Rosen, who's here, and she wants to introduce herself to the council. Amy?
Mayor Brink, council members, thank you and good evening. Appreciate your time allowing me to speak. I am Amy Rosing, and I opted in to run for the auditor treasurer position for Becker County. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit about my background and who I am. And I am a lifelong Becker County resident. I'm married with two, well, not children, adults. I live in the Cormorant area. I have a background in HR, business, accounts receivable, payable, payroll. For probably, I'd say 25 years. I started as HR with Walmart for 10 years, and I've been with my current company for 15 years, and I run all the aspects of the office. So I'm very familiar with running a business, knowing where the numbers need to be, and being able to customer service, supervise. I'm very comfortable in that position, so I felt that this opening with Mary retiring was a great opportunity for me. I think it's a very important position, and I feel like I am an asset that would do great things for the county and work well with the townships, the surrounding townships. I understand their dynamics and what needs to happen in those faculties, so I just wanted to say hello, who I am, and when you see my name on the ballot, you'll put a face to the name and hopefully have your support. And I entertain any questions that you may have if you want to ask anything you have, or later, reach out. I do have a Facebook page if you want to reach out, but
Okay, thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Amy.
Good luck.
Is there anyone else in the audience that has an agenda item that I can take at this time? Otherwise, we're gonna go back to somewhere we left off. Okay, I don't hear any, so I think we are back to the Community Development Committee.
Back to 5A.
Chairwoman Spry.
Thank you. 5A is consideration to the second reading and adoption of ordinance 547, amending the subdivision ordinance of the city of Detroit Lakes relative to its jurisdiction. And I will let Larry speak to this a little bit.
Mayor and council, this amendment specifies that the subdivision regulations of the city of Detroit Lake will be enforced in the designated areas in Lakeview Township in accordance with a joint powers agreement between the city and Lakeview.
Thank you. The Community Development Committee did review this yesterday at our meeting, and we unanimously recommend that the council approve this, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to give second reading and adopt ordinance 547. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries, and second reading's been given. Ordinance 547 is adopted. Wendy?
Okay, I think we are down to 5D, consideration to the first reading of ordinance number 550, amending section 4 of the zoning ordinance rezoning an area from R2, 1 and 2 family residence district to R4, limited multifamily residence district at 565 South Shore Drive, South Shore Living, Senior Living. And again, I would defer to Larry to talk about this project.
This is a zoning request to change the zoning from R2 to R4 for a planned unit development for a 141 unit senior living facility. And this is just the first phase of this. This is the rezoning only. The next item on your agenda is for a conditional use permit. Do you want me to go into the whole explanation now or wait until the next item?
Wait.
Why don't we do one at a time? Just
I'll be glad
as
to.
clear as
Okay.
possible.
Okay.
The CDC did review this yesterday, and we have unanimously again recommend to the council that it approve it, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to give first reading to ordinance 550 regarding the project at 565 South Shore Drive. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. First reading to ordinance 550 is given.
Item 5E, consideration to a resolution approving a conditional use permit to allow a senior housing planned unit development in an R4 limited multifamily residence district and including a variance to allow a building height of 44 feet 5 inches instead of 39 feet at 565 South Shore Drive, again, related to South Shore Senior Living. And if you'd like to speak to this, Larry, I appreciate it.
Okay. This is a conditional use permit and a variance for a 141 unit senior living community. It includes 72 units of active living, 18 units of independent care, 29 units of assisted living, and 22 units for memory care. The two westerly buildings would have the variance to allow 44 feet 5 inches instead of 39 feet for the building height. That is needed so that they can have parking on the first floor or the main floor of that building, and a roof system that gives it a pitched roof instead of a flat roof. And I think it looks much better and fits into the neighborhood with the pitched roof rather than a flat roof. So the Planning Commission has reviewed this and recommends approval.
Okay, Wendy?
Thank you. Again, the CDC did review this yesterday, and we have unanimously recommend that the council approve this, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt a resolution approving a conditional use permit for the planned unit development and also for a variance to allow building height in excess of 39 feet at 565 South Shore Drive. Discussion?
The only discussion I have on it, Mayor, is that I've had some calls from neighborhoods. They like the property. Their concern is if there's gonna be enough property, because they don't wanna see overflow, parking on the streets, and especially with having the South Shore Boat Launch there with enough cars anyway. So the concern is that they do have enough parking so that the people, when they come visit, they can park on the actual property, not out of the street. So I'm hoping that we will have enough property on this, for parking.
The
Larry?
project does meet the parking requirements of the ordinance.
Okay, and I bring that up because we've had apartment houses in town that we said we had enough parking, and the next thing that happens that people are coming here saying, how come people parking in the street? So I just hope that we do have, especially with all the stuff that's gone on out there.
Okay, further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Item 5F, consideration to the first reading of ordinance 551, amending the zoning ordinance of the city of Detroit Lakes relative to permitted accessory and conditional uses in business districts. And I will again hand it over to Larry to talk more about that.
Mayor and council, the zoning ordinance amendment that we're talking about tonight will change the will change the permitted uses in the B1, B2, and B3 districts so that similar types of parking are referred to with the same language in all three of those districts. It also makes them cumulative so that everything that's allowed in the B1 district is allowed in the B2 and the B3 district, and everything in the B2 district is also allowed in the B3 district. The only difference is that in those two higher districts, the B2 and the B3, there are some additional permitted uses.
Okay,
Thank you. Our committee reviewed this and we recommend approval, and I so move.
Second.
motion's been made and seconded to give first reading to ordinance 551. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Item 5G, consideration to a resolution setting a public hearing for the proposed vacation of a portion of the dedicated public road in the plat of Lakewood Beach at 997 Lakewood Drive and 1001 Lakewood Drive. Larry, do you want to speak to this?
We
again?
have received a petition for the vacation, so we need to schedule a public hearing, and all of the information regarding the proposed vacation will be presented at the July council meeting when we have the public hearing.
Thank you. The committee reviewed this yesterday and recommend approval, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt a resolution setting the public hearing for the proposed vacation of a portion of the road at, in the plat at Lakewood Beach at 997 Lakewood Drive and 1001 Lakewood Drive. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Anything further, Wendy?
Nothing further.
Okay, we'll go to the Public Works Committee, Chairman Zeman.
Okay, the first item is, item 6A. This is a request, for removal of a street sign near Minnesota Avenue and Reynolds Alley, and I'm gonna have Kelsey give us a little update on that.
Mayor and council, this is a little bit of a unique circumstance. Reynolds Street, through that portion of that block, most of it was vacated back around the turn of the century,
1903.
1903. Everything was vacated except for 16 feet, and it's still a platted street. It's still a platted Reynolds Street. It's just not your typical 66-foot wide street. It's a 16-foot narrow street. There was a request by the adjacent property owner to remove the street sign that's there. I think the staff's recommendation was it's still platted as Reynolds Street. It really should stay there, but ultimately that's a decision for the council to make. So that's kind of where we left it with Public Works.
Okay, and the committee did review this, and because part of that alley is the street, Reynolds and so forth, we decided to go ahead and deny this request and keep it as is existing signage right now, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to deny the request to remove the street sign near Minnesota Avenue and Reynolds Alley. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Okay, the next item is item B. It's a consideration to a resolution ordering preparation for assessment roll for Linview Estate Street and Utility Project and setting a public hearing on the proposed assessments for July 14th. And I'm going to call on John Pratt to give us an update on that.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, this is just, like Alderman Zeman said, just a resolution setting a hearing for the assessment hearing for the Linview Estates project, which is the Brislin subdivision off of Shorewood Drive. The project's just about wrapped up and the developer is starting to market and sell lots. And so it would behoove us to get that assessment hearing completed before those lots start to change ownership. So we'll have a hearing next month and finalize that.
Okay,
Okay, and the committee has reviewed it because as John said, they have sold a lot already, so lots are selling. So the committee recommends this resolution. I so move.
Second.
motion's been made and seconded to adopt a resolution ordering the preparation of the assessment roll for Linview Estate Street and Utility Project and for setting a public hearing for July 14th at 5 p.m. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, next item is C, consideration of resolution authorizing preliminary injury report for the 2027 street rehab project. John, I'll call on you again.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, one of the projects that we have in our current capital improvement plan, we had slated in 2027 was a street rehabilitation project. It was left rather vague in the CIP. We've been starting to get on sort of this routine cadence of, every 3 or 4 years doing these pavement type rehabilitation projects. So be thinking, mill and overlay or full depth reclamation. These aren't full street and utility reconstruction projects, just looking at pavement restoration. So we've got a project program for 2027. This one in particular would focus pretty well exclusively on roadways, municipal state aid roadways that might be candidates for that type of improvement. So we're asking the council for authorization to begin some of the preliminary work, which would be effectively starting to narrow down which streets are candidates and which ones aren't.
Okay, the committee reviewed this and we go ahead and we'll move for authorizing the preliminary study report for this for the rehab, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt a resolution authorizing a preliminary engineering report for the 2027 street rehab project. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
Okay, the next item is the ones that we've added here, so we'll go to item 6K, and this is in regards to DMRA project, payment number 2, and I'll call on John to give us an update on that too.
So being these are added, there's 2 items that I'm gonna cover here in my spiel, and then you guys can take action. But this is the current Detroit Mountain Recreation Area Legacy Grant projects. There were, generally speaking, 3 contracts that were let for various improvements that were associated with that grant. And this is the final 2 projects that we need to wrap up by the end of the month, make payment on so that we can submit for the final grant reimbursement. One of these is for the treehouse project that was constructed near the lodge. So we're asking for the council's approval of final payment to Hammers Construction for that. Your approval would be conditioned on receipt and approval of some final paperwork and closeout documentation that we're still waiting for. The second one would be approval of the final payment to Linco, and that is related to the parking lot and the Nordic Ski Trail, et cetera. And same thing, your approval would be conditioned on receipt of some final paperwork and so forth. But we need to get the approvals done tonight so that we can wrap this up by the end of the month. Take any questions?
Okay, thanks, John. So we'll take these separately. So the first one is for the treehouse project, and that's item 6A, and the committees reviewed this, and I make a motion, we go ahead and approve it.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the final payment to, it's Hammers Construction on this one, right?
This
Is
is.
it Linco?
Yeah,
This,
this
it's Hammers for
too.
this
Yeah.
one. Hammers.
Final
for the
payment to
trade, yep.
Hammers Construction for the Detroit Mountain Recreation Area Project. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Okay, and then the other one is item 6L. This is final payment on the parking lot at Nordic Ski Trails, and the committee recommends approval. I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve final payment to Linco for the Detroit Mountain Recreation Area Project. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
And then I've got one other thing I want to take a few minutes on is, the Detroit Lakes Housing Authority, they have zero interest loans for critical home repairs, and also they have a loan for down payments. And we do have money available with summertime coming, and people may be looking at projects, whether it's putting a new roof on, repair windows, new furnace, or whatever it may be. This money is available, and these loans are available in the amounts of $3,000 to $20,000. And these are, like I said, these are targeted for actual home improvement needs that need immediate fixing. It's not for cosmetic loans. These loans are unique because they help to set up the zero interest where you pay these as a second mortgage, and the borrowers do not have to pay this principal until a significant transition happens, like maybe you're gonna refinance for a lower interest rate, or you're gonna sell your house. That's when you have to pay that. So if you're short of cash, you need money, come down to the housing authorities located at Pleasant View Apartments. They're the ones that are giving out the applications. They have money, and this is a very good project. As I said, it's zero interest, and they have money available, and it's for anybody that if you're a husband and wife and have one child, for anybody that makes under 116,000, if you're a husband and wife and have more than one or two children, then you can get up to $134,000 a loan. So they've got some pretty good limits for what your household income is. So if you're looking for down payment assistance on the house, or if you need money for doing home repairs, go down and see the HRA, the Housing Authority, because they do have this money, and it's available for just about everybody.
Okay,
Thank you.
but we have to do D yet, Ron.
Which one we didn't do D, okay. We've got to have the engineering report here. So John, if you give us an update on your city engineering there.
Sure, Mayor and Council, plenty going on related to construction right now. Southwood Shore Estates, that project's just about wrapped up. We should be putting the final lift of the Workhorse paving on here sometime in the next, I think the next week or so. So we'll be looking to make final payment on that here, coming up here in the next month or two, and then that project will be all wrapped up. Water tower work continues sort of on and off, waiting for a couple crews to show up here sometime, I think yet this week. Some more painting on the interior of the bowl and the roof, as well as some mechanical and piping connections and interior work on the inside of the pedestal. So work will continue there. I would give a heads up that I think towards the end of June, another crew is going to be on site doing some of the site utility installations, which would include the connection of the transmission lines out to Rossman Avenue. So there probably will be a little bit of a closure on Rossman sometime late June or early July here.
Yep.
Heartland State Trail, that project is done, and we are working on getting the final payment and close-up documentation all processed with Haug. So again, probably complete and have that ready for final in July. We are having a ribbon cutting for that project next Tuesday at 4 o'clock. So we'll have a little ribbon cutting for the opening of that trailhead. So be there if you can. Westlake Drive and City Beach, lots and lots happening down there. The high points here, as far as the Westlake Drive project goes, The contractor is probably right around 3 weeks ahead of schedule, which is fantastic. I think, you know, unless things go terribly awry, they will be out of there before the 4th of July. Kind of discussed that with them today. People are wondering what's it gonna look like around the 4th of July weekend down there. And the good news is I don't think this could have worked out a whole lot better. They should be out of there kind of that week prior to the 4th of July. They're gonna just take a pause for a week, let the 4th of July happen, and then resume work in phase 2, which would be starting down at Legion after the 4th of July, which is really about as good as it could have possibly worked out. So effectively, 4th of July weekend, Westlake Drive will be all open. Some of it will be old and some of it will be new, but it will all be open. Continued work on the beach. They've wrapped up phase 1 essentially. That should be fully done here probably tomorrow. Moving into the phase 2 area. But a large majority of the beach, just to reemphasize this, is open. Everything from the beach walk down to the lake shore and those plaza spaces, really just some small areas that are going to be cordoned off here by the end of this week. So things are moving along, going very well. A lot of work to do yet. So DMRA legacy grant, I don't think I need to talk about that anymore. We just approved final payments for those, so continue to finish that up. Shorewood Drive, just some minor correction items that need to be done. Turf restoration, continue to work with the contractor on that. Likely take a bit to get that into a condition where we can accept it. 270th Avenue, also going very well. Yesterday they finished up all the underground utilities, so water main, sanitary sewer, storm sewer, that's all completed. They're gonna start working on curb and gutter here either late this week or early part of next week. So I think in another month, that project will probably be getting very close to the finish line. Linview Estates, talked a little bit about that earlier this evening. That one is just about complete. Really, the only thing that's left there is to do the turf restoration. Just wait for some utility companies to get their stuff in before we go ahead and seed that. And then all the paving work. I would expect sometime in the next week or two that'll be paved, which will pretty much bring us to the finish line on that project as well. Like I said earlier, we'll have the assessment hearing in July for that. Rossman Avenue, no real activity just yet. Contractor has started discussing when they would maybe start. As of today, it kind of sounded like maybe the middle of July, something like that. So, and nothing really to report on the North Side project just yet. Just continuing with some preliminary design stuff at some point. Not terribly far down the road, we'll probably need to look at scheduling a public hearing or our improvement hearing for that project. So, any questions?
Okay, thanks, John, for that monthly update, and I make a motion to go ahead and accept his report.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the city engineer's monthly project status report. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. And we're back to Alderman Stearns.
All right, item 7D, consideration to approving a 6-month extension to the Tourism Bureau contract with the Chamber. Cleone Stewart and Mark Bjerke were at Finance Committee today representing Tourism Bureau of DL, and just gave a highlight on the revenues collected from the lodging tax. There was a 5% increase year over year from 2024 to 2025. But there was also, the main discussion was doing the 6-month extension to the Tourism Bureau contract. Normally a 12-month contract. This is a little bit unique in that. So it does prompt a correction to the actual contract. On page 4, item 8, it talks about an annual rate of $75,961, but it probably should note that it's a 6-month term because it's divvied out on a monthly basis, but it probably should denote that. So that's $37,980.50. So Finance Committee had no problem with it, recommend approval, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a 6-month extension to the Tourism Bureau contract Chamber with a correction regarding the amount of the payment, correct, Mike?
Correct.
Okay. Further discussion?
Your Honor, I will recuse myself from the vote on this.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with Alderwoman Buboltz abstaining.
All right, item 7E, consideration to approving a proposal for SSL Inc. For city assessor. There was some discussion at Finance Committee. The proposal that was provided by SLL Inc. was for a 5-year term. The recommendation by Heidi Thunberg, Finance Officer, is that it would be that we consider a 2-year term, which appears reasonable. So Finance Committee was comfortable with that and recommend approval, and I so move.
Seconded.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a proposal. Actually, we're making a are we making a counter proposal to them, Kelsey?
Mayor, sort of, there's a 5-year proposal. We're agreeing to the amounts that they want. We're just suggesting that it would just be a 2-year commitment.
Okay, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, item 7F, there were some bids received for paving for the American Legion campground. They weren't apples to apples, and so I guess I'd like to table this one for a month while we get those apples to apples.
Okay, without objection, we'll table it. Anything further, Mike?
No.
We'll move to the Public Safety Committee. Chairman Dahlman.
Thanks, Your Honor. Just bringing up that we've been talking about these e-bikes and the speeds that they make, and we've been doing a bunch of research on other towns in the state of Minnesota, what they have in there, and we'll probably hopefully have a first reading on putting some speed limits on these e-bikes in town. That's all I have. Thanks, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
I've got a comment.
Go ahead.
I hope that we also look at these e-scooters too that they have going around town, because they go just as fast.
Okay, very good. We'll go to the Liquor Gambling Control Committee.
All
Back to
right.
Alderman Stearns.
Item 9A, consideration of the sponsorship of the July 4th fireworks. Liquor and Gambling Control Committee discussed it, looked at prior contributions over the years from 2021 through 2025. We felt comfortable making a recommendation that it be $6,000 again this year, and I so move for approval.
Is there a second? Was that a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Motion's been made and seconded to contribute $6,000 to the fireworks from the liquor fund. Discussion?
Your Honor, I will again recuse myself because the chamber is the fiscal agent for the fireworks.
Okay. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And Alderwoman Buboltz again abstains. The motion carries. Anything further, Mike? Otherwise, you can continue with the Public
Let's
Utilities.
roll into
Commission.
item 10A. Consideration to approving the bid award for generation construction. This is for the power generation over on the north side of Highway 10 and the original industrial, I think the original industrial park. Bids were originally estimated at around $3 to $4 million when this project started in the 2020, or discussion started in 2022. And it was later revised because of estimated cost increases. They were hoping it'd be about 4.9. At the bid opening, it was about $5,254,193.84. So higher, yet General Manager Roberts did visit with a couple of other potential bidders in the project, and they did not submit bids, but kind of had verbal conversation with him, and they were throwing spitball numbers around $7 to $8 million. So if we're looking for the silver lining, that's it. Mr. Roberts has done a wonderful job managing this project from a period that started in 2022 to today. Found savings elsewhere. This is one place he couldn't find savings. This is kind of the last big bid that's anticipated. There are a couple of other smaller items that probably won't make council. A couple of other things we have to remember, that this is an enterprise part of the community, does generate income sources. Missouri River Energy Services did commit to providing $6 million towards the project, and they also will purchase, is it overflow electric use, or we will generate power for Missouri River Energy Services, and it's $2 per megawatt hour. All right, this is where the expert steps in.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, yeah, the capacity payment from Missouri River
For 2027, estimated to be $5.35 a kW. So that should, based on 12.6 megawatts of output, generate 808,000 and some change a year in revenue for us. Plus, when we commission the unit, they will pay us $4 a kW a month for 10 years upfront incentive payment for $6,144,000. 80% of this project to be paid for by Missouri River Energy Services.
So in the long run, it kind of doesn't quite pay for itself, but it does cover a lot of things. So those are a lot of positive things. Mr. Roberts also spoke this morning at Public Utilities about how we're pretty lucky as far as how much it was, how the financing was priced at the origination of the bond. So that was favorable. Roughly estimated there's probably going to be about, when all is said and done right now, the spitball numbers, annual debt service will probably be about 70,000 higher. So not perfect, but definitely ideal considering what other projects are seeing as far as specialized projects and increases that are related to them. So we have consideration to approving that bid award for $5,254,193.84. And I recommend approval and so move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the bid award for Generation Construction. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I would like to recommend the appointment of Katie Allegata to the Library Board to take over the seat that was vacated by Connie Wood, whose term expires. And I would make that recommendation to the council.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Katie Allegata to take over that position.
Okay. Is there a second? Motion's been made and seconded to appoint Katie Allegata to the Library Board. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. A couple of announcements. The candidate filing period begins on July 14th through July 28th. The balance of the joint governance meeting dates are listed in the agenda, and the city council remaining dates, city council meeting dates are listed in the agenda. Is there any other staff items that need to come before the council tonight? Kelsey, anything else?
No, Mayor, the only thing I was going to mention, it's short notice, but the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities has a regional meeting in Alexandria tomorrow night from 5 to 7. You probably saw the emails that were out. We're still looking for attendees, so if you want to go, let me know. I do plan on going, so.
Okay, thank you. Any other staff items? If not, Jay, anything further?
No, I'm good, sir.
Nope. Mike?
Nothing, sir.
Should have had you just run the meeting.
No. The next time Matt Boki's gone, someone else gets to chair his finance committee.
Okay. Jackie, anything else?
No, thank you.
Okay, Ron?
None, Your Honor.
Wendy?
Nothing, thanks.
Aaron?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Craig? The business of this council has come to a conclusion. The meeting's adjourned.